sorry. You're still there. Yeah, baby. Are you not entertained?
I'm sorry, baby. I didn't know it was your turn.
You. Look at me.
Yes.
What's wrong with being sexy? I mean, there's no sex. These go to 11.
Does that mean it's louder?
Hey everyone. Good evening. Do I got everything on? Do I got it all on? You know, I was scrambling because right when the episode ended of Knights of the Seven Kingdoms, I had to move the TV because I had the TV head. We had to move the lights back and get everything going. And I did it. Did you guys watch the show? Did you watch the show, Knights of the Seven Kingdom? It's a little bit of Game of Thrones. We haven't had any Game of Thrones. Dinastanos. It's live, right? It's alive. It's as live as we can be, my friend. Live. So the show, did you watch the show? That's the question, right? Did you? So I am a screenwriter. I've written many screenplays. I've won many awards. I've done. So I always look at things from the perspective of, you know, a little technical. Maybe I'm more technical than most people. It's nice because look, I like sci-fi. I'm also broadcasting on my sci-fi channel, my science channel, Dimension Zero. I am on my movie channel, POPRAGEOUS. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm gonna do my both channels, Dimension Zero and POPRAGEOUS, because I know that there, you know, fantasy and science fiction is on Dimension Zero too. But I did watch. So from a screenwriting perspective, look, from a watcher perspective, I know it's getting some pretty good reviews. But what I would say is it has a nice tone. It's kind of nice. I like the actor that plays Sir Duncan the Tall at the very end. You know, you got the tall thing from Sir Lionel Baratheon, right? You're tall, be tall. It was kind of like with the dragon thing. You're a dragon. Be a dragon with Daenerys and what's her name. But the one thing I will say, where's the beef? Okay, look, when you write a story, you need to have some. What I don't know what the story is. It's just a guy walking around right now. He's likable. The little kid is likable at the very end. Likable. Is there no antagonist? I mean, I kind of thought we'd have a little bit more of a reason for this character to be. But I like the tone. I like the acting. I like the dialogue. I made a few notes. I made a few notes. The first scene was a good way to start. You know what? For the character, it was a way to start something new. End of one life, the beginning of the next life, right? With the death of his I guess he was a squire for the guy, the knight, the old knight guy. It was good, clean. One thing, I don't know if you noticed, the first scene, it's a side shot of him. He's not very wet at all. Then they do a front shot and he is soaked. Now that's something called in the movie business continuity. Right, it's called. If you don't have continuity, it didn't release. I guess it didn't release in Portugal. Do I know why? I don't know why. Do they not like the? Does George R.R. Martin not like the Portuguese? I like the Portuguese. I would love to go to Portugal. Maybe I'll go next week. But so I don't know if you guys agree. Where's the meat? I mean, he's basically he was just walking around. He didn't have a purpose. He was trying to find a purpose. We're kind of at the end. So it's 42 minutes. This show, you know, the other 5 episodes are only about 31 to 37 minutes long. There's not much. It's about a total of 3 hours. there's not much time in this Knights of the Seven Kingdom. As a matter of fact, what was it? There's a 31, 32, 37, 33, and a 35-minute episodes after this. Call it 30 minutes, right? There's not much storytelling time. It is a movie, but if you're going to set it, they haven't set it up as a movie. No, I mean, this was 42 minutes. This was the longest episode, 42 minutes. I like the character. The lighting was a little Witcher sometimes, right? They didn't have the Game of Thrones lighting. When they're in the tent, everything is just too well lit. You want to have some, you want to see the effect of the candles. You want to see some dark shadows on faces. That creates tone. It was it was fleshed out. And I don't like that kind of lighting in a fantasy kind of a setting. I could overlook that. Yeah, you can, right? Because this is a little refreshing after Starfleet Academy. Holy, did I go off on Starfleet Academy yesterday? Hey, I had fun. I really did have fun. Hey, David said, well, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. I hope to see it. Come by anytime. I'm just firing up POPRAGEOUS again, and I have my other channel, Dimension Zero, which is science. I'm a hobbyist astrophysicist at home. That's what I and a screenwriter and a bunch, So, Logan, hello, Logan. Pleasure to meet you. My name is Danny Alex. Danny Alex. So I spent 20 years in Los Angeles. I was a screenwriter, had a business. I just left Los Angeles, got my ass out of that city, and so I guess my credentials for the idea of critiquing movies. You can Google my name, Danny Alex, screenwriter. I've won hundreds of awards in film festivals around the world. I've never sold one of my screenplays, and I don't think I will. Although someone contacted me today about one of my screenplays. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, so when I take a look at Night, I think I was expecting a little bit more story, right? I like the opening scene. It was a little dark. It was a little, it was more show than tell, which I like. It's like the beginning of John Wick, one of the best intros that clearly shows you show, don't tell. Show, don't tell. Sinister. What we do here is go back. What we do here is go back. What do we do with Sinister? Hey, I did a video on. I did a video on Project Ava. You know that. You weren't on that day. But look, I know House of the Dragon. George R.R. Martin had a big falling out with the showrunner from House of the Dragon. I think George R.R. Martin is a hard person to get along with. Look, when it's your story, you own your story. I get it, right? If I write the stuff that I've written, the characters, they're very personal, like they are, because you live, breathe, sleep with them, in a sense, right? And do I like the Buffalo Sabres? I'm not. I like hockey, but I like the Buffalo Bills better. But I do. But it was the from a story perspective, right? So I think if you're watching, you like Game of Thrones, you like fantasy, you like the genre. I mean, Witcher was an abomination. The storytelling was absolutely abysmal. And I think one of the things they set up a reason why this character might have a mission. He lost his I guess he was his knight, squire. He lost him. He died, and now he's looking for purpose. But that's not enough to kind of make you really, okay, what are we watching for? And this is my concern with this 6 half-hour episodes, so to speak, right? There's no meat on the bone. It was enjoyable, but that's kind of like, there's no water cooler talk. It's like, oh, did you hear that? Did you see that? Blah blah blah. Okay. Like they're like, who's the antagonist? We don't even. Like, so it's kind of like it's missing a lot of story meat. So if I got the screenplay as a screenwriter and I said this is, they said this is the first, it would be about 45 pages, right? Each page in a screenplay is 1 minute long, so it'd be a good easy read. And my first comment would be, okay, why does any of this happen? What's the reason for any of this happening? You could put purpose into a character beyond just I'm lost and I need something to do. You could put purpose into a character. You're the writer. You are God. You have pen. You have keyboard. Have keyboard will write. And you can put these things in. And they didn't. That's the concern. That's the concern that I have. It was meatless, but entertaining. Now, if it wasn't Game of Thrones, right? Because I know it's. I don't know everything about it. I know there's 3 mini books about Duncan the Tall, right? 3 mini books. I'm not a huge Game of Thrones lore guy. Look, there's people that know this stuff in and out. I'm not one of those guys. I just watch the story, right? I think like most of us do. And I mean, I like the interaction with Sir Lionel, the Baratheon. It felt a little quick and shallow. Like everything moved pretty quick through the characters. Everything kind of felt a little. There was a lot of characters introduced at like the very, very end. What was the one guy? I mean, it looked like. I mean, he had a baby face, and I don't know if that cat. I think we need maybe a little bit more edgy characters, right? But I did like the guy. I did like the actor. What's his name? I got it up on. Peter Claffey, you know, he played the character well, Sir Duncan the Tall. He played him. He was very likable, right? Very likable. He was unassuming. He's not. He's more of an introvert, right? He's not some guy. And if that's going to be a sort of character arc, he's coming out. He's going to, go from a guy who has no self-confidence to a guy who is confident. And this story happens right in the middle between House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones, like right in the middle. I believe, I don't know if I'm giving something away. Is the bald guy, the bald kid, Egg, the bald kid no, he's not Aemon Targaryen, right? The old guy that passes away at Castle Black. But he is born maybe he is. He is born somewhere around this time. So there's some interesting things. So it's the first Game of Thrones, George R. Martin content that we've had. So it's going to come across very appetizing, especially if you're a Game of Thrones fan. It's going to come across. I liked it. I like Game of Thrones. I didn't mind most of season 7, except for the fact that they're literally in 20 minutes they're going across entire continents, and you're like, what the? Normally there'd be stuff happening during travels. There'd be other plot things happening during these, even if it's one episode of travel, right? I mean, they could have had 2 more seasons. There's like, no, we only need 6 episodes to finish this baby off. They ruined their entire careers. They ruined their legacy. D&D, DB Weiss and what's his name? And I couldn't find the writers on this. There's no writers on IMDb. It is created by George R. Martin. So it does not say who the writers are. I did want to know who wrote it, who turned it into a screenplay. But I mean, don't you think that was the same thing? Wasn't it missing a little bit of intensity? I forgot school and stuff. Yeah, Logan, fair. I make. Oh man, it's a tough name. Hello, my friend. Amen. Amen. Amen a dogma. Amen a dogma. Grimsbar. Amnesia. Who's singing that song? There's a song called Amnesia. Who's that? Oh, 5 Seconds of Summer, right? I'm gonna wake up with amnesia. I gotta remind myself not to sing it live. Like I used to be a singer. I used to be a musician. But I shouldn't sing on these live things. Sinister, I find it so funny how the showrunners of GOT rushed through season 8 because they got contracted for Star Wars, right? I know that they lost the gig. But S8 flopped so hard they lost the contract and they are still ridiculed today. They could have been gods, right? They could have been writing gods. Now, people always ask, there's all of this talk about why is George R.R. Martin not finishing the books? And look, I'm pretty sure I know exactly why. Especially when you understand intellectual property around these things. When HBO bought the series, right? So they didn't buy just what was written. They bought the series, right? Meaning they have the option to adapt that entire, and that includes the book that wasn't written. And I'm sure it probably had said in there, if you do not finish the last book, we will write the ending and that ending will be what it will be. Because there is no way HBO is going to buy the rights and not own the ending. Otherwise, it looks even stupider. So so people are asking, how come he's not finishing it? You know what? There's probably a non-disclosure, don't talk about it in the public clause. HBO says nothing about it because they own the ending. You don't buy the rights you don't buy partial rights to a book series and then allow someone else to finish off the very series that you purchased from the guy. George R.R. Martin is not finishing it because he has no rights to finish it. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And they don't want to talk about it. There's a non-discussion, non-disclosure, non-everything. Because HBO is mum. That's what it is. HBO owns the ending. And that's probably why HBO is so pissed off at D&D. Because, wow. We would have given you 2 or 3 more seasons. You could have had Star Wars, right, Sinister? You could have had Star Wars. Nope. That's gone. Everything else. What are they writing now? Like, what are they writing? Like they're doing puppet shows or something now? I don't know. Josil, a big happy face. I like a big happy face. Sinister, it was meatless, but the bone was slathered in sweaty, tangy barbecue, so it still tasted good. Is a good analogy for you. Right. That's the way it felt. It was, look, because it's Game of Thrones, it has a connection. It's right in the middle, right? It's right after House of the Dragon and right before Game of Thrones. So it's right in the middle there. I don't know what the purpose of it is. Don't know what so this is a 42-minute episode. The next one is 35. I can't remember exactly. 35 minutes, 37 minutes, then 31 minutes. It's all 30, just over 30 minutes. So I'm not. It's like a miniseries. It's like a test. It's almost like they don't want to put out the big $30 million per episode. Because I know House of the Dragon, they're a little bit concerned because some of the budgets are going crazy. But look at Stranger Things. Was it 30 million per episode for Stranger Things? They didn't get much quality on Stranger Things. That was low quality writing. That really was. You know, I watched season 1, and actually when I finished the whole season 1 of Stranger Things, it wasn't as good as I remembered it. Season 2 was abysmal. It was so much worse than I remember season 2. But it doesn't matter what right? The series had a massive following. I think it was mostly younger people, right? Much younger. But there wasn't many notes to really put out there. They made around Duncan the Tall. They made a good sort of emotional argument for his character to be. His only reason to be is trying to find a reason to be. What's he fighting for? What's he trying to achieve? And who's trying to stop him? Right? Those are the questions you ask on a story. It's like Kevin Costner's Horizon. Like, oh my God, I knew in the first 30 minutes this was going to be an absolute disaster. There's no coherent story. When you don't have a coherent story, people don't care. There's nothing to talk about. We want someone to hate. We want someone to love. Right now, we kind of got someone to love, and that, the cute little he's a Targaryen, right? The little bald kid. I think he's Aemon Targaryen or something, or who is I looked into the lore and everything. He's somebody in the actual Game of Thrones. Look, there's lore people that are so deep into this stuff. I can really usually never be bothered with getting that deep into stuff. But that's my critique for, where's the beef? What are we supposed to hold on to? So the only thing that I'm really, is the character. Because the actor, Peter Claffey, he's only 6'5". I mean, I have friends that are 6'5". I mean, I'm not tall. I'm 5'9". I put my tall shoes on. I'm 5'10". But the other characters so far are kind of forgettable. The only reason I know who Sir Lionel is, I went on IMDb and I looked it up. Sir Lionel, the Laughing Storm. It seemed some of the stuff seemed a little forced. It seemed like his character could have been a little bit more, I don't know. But I guess if you're dealing with 42 minutes and low budgets, I mean, they didn't have a big budget, so they couldn't have a castle. So they just they got an open patch of earth, built some, took some tree and twigs and made some tents and made a little city. So it doesn't seem like they've got huge budgets, which is fine. You don't need a huge budget. That's when good story usually comes out. But where's the story? What are we supposed? What's the story you're trying to tell? Who was it? The South Park guys, right? If your story is and this, then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, it's a good way to explain it. This happens, but then this happens. Because this happens, therefore now this happens. We didn't have any of that, right? All of it was, he goes here, he goes there, he talks to this person, this happened, this, and then this happened, this goes this. His decisions aren't running the plot. He's just kind of walking around, and you need character decisions to make the plot interesting. One of the big mistakes that writers do and directors do, or they make the plot make the decisions for the characters. That is also really bad. And I don't think people who don't understand story or creative writing, or even in novels, right? But novels, you can have 1,000 pages if you want. No, I'm going to do 1,500 pages. In a movie, you don't get that. You might get 120 pages, 1 minute per page on a screenplay. Because the studio ain't gonna, every minute, every extra page is more money, more money, more money. That's a studio exec sees, right? He sees a good screenplay he or she likes, may I be proper? May I be? Can I be a little Starfleet Command or Starfleet Academy here? Oh my God, I went off yesterday and I felt good. It did. I felt good. Oh, that is. I think it's worse than the Acolyte. At least the Acolyte was a little sci-fi. It was bad sci-fi, but Starfleet Academy was just Melrose Place in using the guise of Star Trek to try and sell it. Utter garbage. You're garbage. So, and it's interesting because people are giving. Let me see now that it's aired. Oh, yeah, Starfleet Academy's got a 4.8. If you're wondering, Knights of the Seven Kingdoms 8.8. Was it 8.8 before? 8.8. There's gonna be a lot more reviews coming in. Obviously, that seems a little high for this. It does. If I was gonna score this thing, it's like a 7. If I was gonna really score it as like a grade paper, like someone turns it in, here's my screenplay for my class, I'd be like, he's no good. It's no good. You C-. What's the story? Well, I don't understand what the character is good. The dialogue is good. For the most part, the dialogue is good. I'm not sure what was said though, but you take a look at what was said. Was anything really said that meant anything? Basically, Sir Duncan the Tall walks in. He's going to try and get into a attorney. He wants to turn into a knight, and we learned that from Sir Lionel, the Baratheon, that you do realize that if you lose your armor, you lose this and that, and blah blah blah. Then it's like, okay, I got that. What are you here for? Food? I mean, that was kind of cute. So, oh, Christine Maitland. Heated rivalry cost next to nothing. Heated rivalry cost next to nothing. I think I get what you're trying to say in terms of the budgets and what the whole cost of the story was, because there wasn't really too much. It also asked the question, what does it mean to be the knight in the world without honor? I don't know if I got that much out of it. They didn't hit that. They didn't hit that hard. That didn't come. They should have stuck. They could have stuck with. Well, he doesn't have any honor because he's not really. He's a hedge knight. He's not really a full-on knight, right? Which he's trying to find someone to vouch for him, and I think the little kid is going to vouch for him, right? It kind of almost seems obvious. Fish, Paul, at the end, you mean, when that little kid was cooking the fish? That's the only fish I saw. Little fishy. Bobcat Driver. There are a lot of supporting characters from the novel that haven't been introduced yet, which will impact the plot massively. Hey, and Bobcat. I'll call you Bobcat. I get it, right? I get it. You read the books. You read the show, the TV show has to stand on its own, not from what the books are, right? And if you have insight because you read the books, that's good. But for the average person, the 90% of people who haven't, they're watching it going, okay, there's nothing to really talk about. I mean, did you see him naked? He was out there. He was naked. I mean, did you see the crap scene in the beginning? That was probably like the biggest point of consternation for me watching the movie. I didn't need to see him crapping on the side of a tree. Okay, I didn't need to see that. That was like, I don't know why I hit the applause button. We didn't need to see Sir Duncan the Tall taking a poop. but we did. So and that's what I say, Bob. It's like when you're writing something and you're going to put it on there. Even if I was a studio guy, I'd be like, okay, what's the purpose of this? Why does this guy exist? You need to, especially in the first episode, you got to capture the audience, because you'll get this high viewership and you'll just start to bleed off because you don't know why am I watching the next episode for? Like for you, who is I'm a hardcore Game of Thrones guy. I'll watch it. Will the average normie do it? But I get what you're saying. There's more meat on the bone. They should have given us more meat on the bone. And they've got a problem with only having, this is a 42-minute episode. The next ones are all just over 30 minutes. There's not much time. There's not much time to tell a really big, compelling story. And it makes you wonder, well, what's the purpose of this story? Does it have some other, or is it just going to exist as a little mini-series? Given the runtimes of the episodes and the low stakes nature of the plot, that's a good way to put it. Until I assume the midpoint of the series, I think this show would have worked better as a binge. That's a good point. That is, I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't disagree with you. I wouldn't. I know what's coming, so I'm happy to wait. Okay. Look, I like this character and I want to see what happens to him, because he's a big guy. It was an interesting thing. Because he walked over, hunched over. Then Sir Lionel basically said, "Why are you walking on?" It's like, stand. And so this character is going to go through this self-awareness. This is what I'm guessing, right? Self-awareness. This idea he's going to sort of awaken to his own importance, self-importance. And he looks like a character who doesn't understand his own self-importance. He doesn't understand. He's lost. But this was kind of a mishmash of going here, going there, talk to this guy, this and that. I mean, the thing was, it was pretty adorable. This big 6'5" guy, he's like, "Why are you here? You brought me something, right? Why are you here?" He's holding the pastry. "I'm here to eat." I mean, honesty is usually the best way to go. It usually is. So, but there's really, I do have a little bit of wine. I was having some wine watching Sir Duncan, having some vino. Always makes me sleep a little better. MLK Day tomorrow. United States, if you're in the United States, it's Milk Day. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you're supposed to do on Milk Day. I spent 20 years in Los Angeles. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see any. I think there's one march or something. That was like, it's very RPG-ish. Objective end to the journey, yeah. And that's what you definitely, that comes across, right? He's trying to, I think that kid, the kid is going to say that, yeah, I was there when he became a knight. That's my assumption. And the idea is to get into the tourney. And I imagine that we're going to find our antagonists, unless a lot of times you write these things and the idea of the antagonist is yourself. That could be it too. It could be that they're writing this, they don't even list the writers of this. That the writer is basically saying, look, the antagonist, he is the antagonist to his own confidence. The biggest thing that is working against him is him. And that is a compelling way to write a story. You got to be on the ball and on the money. There's definitely an antagonist. Okay, well, we didn't get him yet. Look, if I was the writer, I would have somehow introduced him. Maybe he did. The red bearded guy, he looked kind of mean. He looks like a mean guy that turns into a friend later. That's what it feels like to me. But yeah, Bobcat, a Bobcat driver definitely knows what's going on. He's definitely telling us that there is, that there has to be an antagonist. Otherwise, it's just like, I'm sorry, why are we doing this series? There's a lot of characters that were introduced. I mean, even he went into the tent with the dragon, that girl. Look, a girl on stage telling that story with the dragon in the night. You don't get that much face time unless you're a character that's going to pop up again, right? There's no way. You don't get face time like that. Anytime you get face time like that, okay, it's a character, jot that character down. Something is going on. Something is going on. Sometimes the very simplest, dumbest things, if something breaks early on and they make a big deal. Look, this thing broke. Look, that's going to be a plot device for something that's going to happen later on. One of the best, what was that movie? The Evil Dead with that came out like 2-3 years ago. The first 30 minutes was filled with like little props that they used when what's her name got taken over, but she was fantastic. Yeah, I don't remember that. One of those Evil Dead movies, right? The girl that was on Vikings, the tall girl, I forgot. But a lot of you write these things into the early part of your story. Because you need you can't just introduce the gun in the third act, right? If there's going to be a gun in the drawer and someone pulls out the drawer and takes the gun out to save themselves in the third act, it gets introduced in the first act. People forget about it, and it's like, oh God, she's dead. She's dead. There's no way. She's got no way out. And she opens the drawer, but you have to introduce the gun in the first act. Otherwise, oh my God, this is stupid, right? Well, that was convenient having a gun there. But if you introduce it in the first act, even you just show it, it's like, oh, right, the gun. So I'm looking for these little things that a screenwriter would put in early that are kind of like harbingers for. I didn't really find too much. So, I definitely think they either should have done this as a 3-hour, 30-minute movie. I agree. Or released it as a binge, especially since House of the Dragon Season 3 is also coming out later this year. Or 2 1-hour or 2 1.5-hour movies, part A, part B. I mean, a 3-hour and 30-minute, 217 minutes, I think, or 212 minutes total. It's a lot, right? It's a lot of, it's a long freaking movie. Or have 4 shows and make them all 1 hour. They obviously didn't give much budget. They're testing something, or I don't know. They spent a lot of money on other stuff. A lot of money. Like House of the Dragon. It's not going to be as expensive as Stranger Things, House of the Dragon. It's going to be expensive, but it won't be expensive as Stranger Things was. The Acolyte was really expensive. Really expensive. The one unique thing this show does provide is really in-depth look at what the life of the common folk consists of day to day in the world of Westeros, which right. They did in some episodes, they did touch, especially like in season 7. They did show kind of like, the countryside, when the mountain goes back with, the father and daughter who he stole the money from, the hard living. But the sets were excellent. The lighting was excellent. Like when they were in Castle Black, dark corners, right? Dark corners that used natural lighting. And it was almost built from a black and white base, and they added color from a black and white base, and they kept it very muted, and it looked real. This was in the opening scene in the tavern. They did pretty good. Like you see the flashing, the candle reflecting, but then later on you saw it all. It was Witcher lighting. It was just like they had the big spotlights on everybody, and that that's kind of soap opera lighting. I didn't like that. Now that's technical. I don't know how many people would notice that, but it does give people a negative feel. That was one of the great things about Game of Thrones is its lighting and its authenticity. But look, yeah, Westeros is a shitty place to live, right? It's shitty walk. But I don't know what you guys would give it. I would give it a 7. I would give it a 7, and I would give it a 7, maybe a 7.5, under the auspice that they're going to give something, they're putting some meat in the bone, Bobcat Driver. I need to see some meat in the bone next episode. Because if they don't put meat on the bone in the next episode, they need to really put Duncan in a bad position, right? They need to put his back up against the wall. They need to really set this thing up the next episode. Do we care for him? Yes. But now they really need to make him absolutely taken advantage of, hurt, betrayed, fight. Survive from, right? And like, it's just like, he's fucked. What's he going to do now? Right? Because we care for him. He's a likable character. He's a very likable character. Sir Duncan the Tall. I think that lighting is intentional in this scenario. They are in the Reach, which is on the warmer side of the Seven Kingdoms. And also, Dunk is still a bit naive about the world. So no, the lighting is inside the tents in the evening when they have the candles. So instead of in the tavern scene, they did have, you could see a bit of the candles and shadows hitting the face. In the other scenes, it was just like, it was soap opera lighting. And I really hate that. The Witcher is the worst for that. I mean, they're using candles and fire for lighting, but it's like they got these big freaking spotlights. It's like, okay, looks fake, feels fake. Okay. Game of Thrones, when they did their interior lighting shots, they did it really well. Really well. So, but anyway, guys, I think that's it. I don't know if there's anything much left to tell. It's a short show. We'll do it again next Sunday, every 30 minutes. Every Saturday night, we do POPRAGEOUS Live. It's Saturday night, a couple of hours of recapping the week's stuff. Fish. Mr. Pontius. Fish. Go Fish. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, there's not too many comments on the IMDb. It's at I think it's still at an 8.8. Let me refresh this. 8.8. Yeah, they haven't. And there's been nothing new on IMDb. So 176 an hour ago was 176 reviews. So. But anyway, I think, you know what? I'm hopeful. Hey, what can I say? I mean, say whatever you want, I guess. But I am hopeful. I am hopeful that there's going to be more meat on the bone. That's what we need. So it was a little disappointing, I guess. I wanted a little bit, but I was disappointed with not enough meat on the bone. But I did like the actor, and I liked the character. I like the way they wrote the character. I like his disposition. I like his place in the world, which isn't a particularly strong one. He's a very strong, big human being, but he doesn't come across as being strong. As a matter of fact, he comes across as being quite weak. He hasn't discovered himself. So these things are compelling characters. That character is a good character, right? And that's where now they got to set him up with, some real story, some meat on the bone story. So anyway, we'll have to see next Sunday. We'll do the same thing. It can't be a long review. Like, you're only 42 minutes. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, what's there? What's there to talk about? I mean, there wasn't too much to talk about. It's like Bobcat says. He's read the books. He says, look, there's more coming. There's more coming in this series, and there has to be. HBO is so good with story, right? And this is why I always give HBO the benefit of the doubt. They don't mess with story. They know story. They look, if the story ain't gonna work, they throw it away. They have good script writers or readers, good script readers. They read the script. That's why they have so many great hit shows, HBO. So there's got to be some meat coming up. And I do look forward to House of the Dragon, though. I do. That's going to be a good one. So we'll leave it at that tonight, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. So this is POPRAGEOUS is back every Saturday night. POPRAGEOUS live. It's Saturday night. And then we'll do Night of the Seven Kingdom every Sunday night, and then we'll slowly, I got to grow the channel because I've been gone. I moved out of Los Angeles, spent 20 years there. The last year and a half has been hell, so I haven't been on this channel almost at all. Had some vocal cord issues. Couldn't speak. I couldn't make the voice would continually give out and everything like that. So I actually had to use someone else's voices for like 4 or 5 videos, but yeah, better now. So better now. But that is it. That is it. Night of this. So I give it a 7. I give it a 7 on the auspice that we're going to get more. Give us some meat on the bone, HBO. But I do think we are. Bobcat says we are. I think that we are then as well. So 7 out of 10. It was okay. Love the characters. We just need some more meat on the bone. But it was refreshing to see some Game of Thrones. It really was. It really was. So guys, thank you very much. I will see you in 6 days on Saturday night. Ciao. I'm sorry, you're still there.
Yeah, baby. Are you not entertained?
I'm sorry, baby. I didn't know it was your turn.
You. Look at me.
Yes.
What's wrong with being sexy? I mean, there's no...
Sex.
It's these go to 11.
Does that mean it's louder?